Well, guys, with every great year in movies, you got a ton of great movies, okay? You know, the good majority of movies you're going to see in a theater all year long, they're all going to be great. Then you have your shit, okay? And this is the place where we talk about that shit for one last time. Oh, yes. Guys, what's up? What's going on? It's Autobot Mike 18 here, back with another top 10 list. This is a list a lot of you guys enjoy from me. I love doing my top 10 best list, but at the same time, I have fun doing this list as well because I get pumped, I get angry, and you guys love it. So yes, guys, I released my top 10 best list just 2 days ago on New Year's Eve. That list is currently up on my channel. You can check it out and see my picks for the best movies of the year. This is the video where I'm going to be talking about the worst movies of 2015. That's right, guys. This is my top 10 list of the worst movies of 2015. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, because I had a blast putting this list together, but I did not like thinking about these movies again, and I cannot wait to not think about these movies anymore after I'm done editing, or I'm done filming this video. Speaking of which, guys, speaking of editing and speaking of my channel in general, I just want a quick channel update before I get into this video. The reason why I'm not rushing my speech like I have been doing in my last few videos is because I had a copyright strike on my channel. That copyright strike just got lifted. I literally just checked an hour before I started shooting this. The copyright strike is gone. I have no idea. It's just gone, and I'm not going to complain about it. I sent a counter notification, and I'm pretty sure that's why they realized that what they did, just giving that video a copyright strike, was just stupid, and that's why it's gone as of now. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Everyone who left a comment on that video, I talked about it, and supported me and said, Mike, it's alright, it's alright, I'm sorry that happened to you. Thank you guys. You guys are freaking awesome. And because of that, I'm going to go nuts in this video for you guys, so I hope you enjoyed. So this video can be longer than 15 minutes. I'm going to try to keep it short, though, to be fair to my top 10 best list, because I had to keep that under 15 minutes, so I'm not going to make this video crazy long. Just letting you guys know. With that said, let's get into it. So guys, as you know, if you saw my top 10 best list, you know that I saw 61 movies this year. Of that 61, I enjoyed probably 85% of them. This was a very strong year for movies, of course. But then, the rest of that 15%, we had the stinkers, and this is where we're going to talk about the stinkers. Now, I did not see every single bad movie that came out this year. There are a lot that I just didn't see because I knew they were going to be bad, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to pay money for that. Like, I did not see Hot Pursuit. I did not see Mordecai with Johnny Depp, or, oh, what's that movie? Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Trip. Ugh! I knew that those movies were going to be terrible, so I skipped them. So do not expect to see those movies on my list because I haven't seen them. I also really want to stress that this is a top 10 list of the worst movies of the year. I would say, because I have 2 dishonorable mentions, and then the first 2 picks on my list, I don't hate them, okay? They're just my lowest ranked. This whole list is a ranking of my least favorite movies of this year, or some of my most hated. And the first 2 on this list, I found redeeming qualities, and I don't hate them, but they are my lowest ranked of the year. So I just want to make that clear. I wanted to do a top 10 list, and in order to do that, I had to include movies that I didn't necessarily hate. I just thought they were okay, they weren't that great, so that's why they're on the list. So just be wary of that, okay? So before we go any further, let's just quickly go into my 2 dishonorable mentions, because it's not good to be on this list, guys. First one up is a movie that I really wanted to be good. It was actually one of my top 5 most anticipated of the year, and now it's a dishonorable mention on my top 10 worst. And again, I found a good thing or two about this movie, but the rest, the majority of it, not that great. First dishonorable mention is Chappie. There was a time I really loved Neil Blomkamp, guys, and I have for his first 2 movies. District 9 and Elysium are 2 of the best sci-fi films I've seen in this generation, I would say. They're really good movies. Naturally, I was really hyping up Chappie, and this movie just dropped the ball, and it wasn't Blomkamp's direction specifically, I would say. It was really the writing. The gangster characters in this movie are terribly cliched and utterly forgettable, and every other character in this movie is wholly underused. Hugh Jackman, I have no idea why they cast him in this movie. He has no place in this movie as the Sigourney Weaver, who has probably 3 minutes of screen time in total of this entire runtime. I hated the ending. It's predictable. It's cliche-ridden. Chappie, big misfire. It looked great. The CGI was good and all that, but not enough to save the movie. And my second dishonorable mention is a movie I actually gave a grade of a B to, okay? But I've since thought about this movie more since I've given it that grade and seen the movie, and I just realized I don't like it. It's actually the most overrated movie I've seen all year long. That second dishonorable mention is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. Now, I know you guys are going to be shocked that this is a dishonorable mention on this list, but what can I say? The movie looked great, it was shot well, and the acting is good. What failed on every single aspect of this movie are the characters. If you have bad characters in a movie, that is ultimately a strike against the movie, and that is why this movie ended up on this list. I did not care for nor connect to one of the characters in this entire movie. I laughed, it was funny, but I honestly think, just looking back, I think I laughed as much as I did in this movie because my audience was laughing. I don't think I laughed because I wanted to laugh for me. I think I laughed because my audience was laughing and having a good time, and that's great if they enjoyed the movie. I didn't because I hate every character in this movie. They're all gloomy. They all look at the worst in life throughout the entire runtime of the movie, and I can understand. You can have characters who do that, and that's totally fine. But to have that character follow that same arc throughout a good 90% of this movie, I just don't care, okay? I'm done. The characters are just cliches, they're stereotypes, they're underused. Earl in this movie has zero place. They have him say the same damn line over and over again, and it just didn't work for me. This is a highly overrated movie, and it doesn't work because the characters do not work at all. There you go. Me, Earl and the Dying Girl. Sorry, guys. Didn't like it. Now, let's get into the top 10, okay? Now, again, for these first two picks, I'm not going to go nuts, okay? I'm going to calmly say, okay, I didn't like this about this movie, I didn't like this about this movie. When we get to number 8, I'm going to go off, okay? So get ready, guys. Coming in at number 10, starting off my top 10 list. Number 10 is Insidious Chapter 3. Now again, I didn't hate this movie. I gave it like a C grade, alright? But in comparison to the prior Insidious movies, I love the first Insidious. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. And the second one wasn't that bad. It was a decent sequel. This movie not only does not feel like Insidious, but it doesn't even work as a horror movie because there are next to no scares in this movie. Nothing felt creepy or anything. Nothing really worked. I didn't buy into any of the characters, really. This movie felt way more like a drama than it did a horror movie, and that's fine, but that's not an Insidious movie. This doesn't feel like Insidious Chapter 3. It doesn't feel like the Insidious we deserved, and that's ultimately what upset me the most about this movie. I love Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne from the first two, and maybe because they weren't in this movie, that didn't help. But the first half of this movie just felt like a paranormal movie, you know, just where there's a being haunting her. That's it. Didn't feel like Insidious at all to me. When we bring in Lin Shaye, and she is such a badass in these, that didn't really help either for me, so that's why Insidious Chapter 3, sorry, didn't care for it. Predictable, didn't really do much for me. I just didn't have that horror feel. Coming in at number 9, I really wanted this movie to be good. I really wanted it to be better than the first, and there are some aspects of it that worked, but a good majority of it does not work because of just how unoriginal it all is in general. Number 9 is the Divergent series Insurgent. Insurgent definitely had a lot riding on it, okay? I think that the opening of this movie is actually pretty good. Then I think it literally just goes down and down and down and down. This movie is so overstuffed. There are so many characters in this movie. The filmmakers themselves had no idea what to do with them all. They're literally all just there. Way too many characters. I feel we needed screen screen time for more and less screen time for others, and it was just a big mess in that respect. Everything else is bland and sour and feels unoriginal overall. I absolutely hate the ending of this movie, and I do not understand why we're getting another movie, in all honesty. I really think they could have just ended it with this one. I do not think we need another one at all, and just the quick, just out-of-nowhere ending just didn't work for me. And the whole MacGuffin thing with the box, that should have been so much more awesome than it was, but it just wasn't. So that is Insurgent for me, guys. Coming in at number 8. This is where I'm going to start to yell and I'm going to start to get mad. These movies pissed me off and I am going to let you guys know about it. Number 8 is Terminator Genisys. Oh my God, what a failure. This movie just further proves that Terminator is dead. James Cameron, what the hell, man? You said this was good. You gave it your approval. You said, "Oh yeah, it's the best movie since the Terminator 2, T2." Probably, but that's not saying much because the other two movies sucked, and this one is just as bad, and if not worse. Everything about Terminator Genisys does not work. I'll never forget the day I saw this. I was literally lost throughout the entire movie. The entire timeline is screwed up. It makes zero sense. This movie is confusing as hell because it had to go play with the timeline and go screw everything up. I sat for an hour trying to piece everything together, and then I just gave up and said, you know, it's not worth my time. I give up with the Terminator movies. The one saving grace of this movie is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that is it. Everything else does not work. Hollywood, stop using Jai Courtney. He is a terrible Kyle Reese. Everything, the CGI, the lack, it's not exciting. It doesn't feel like a Terminator movie. There's a good moment here or there, but other than that, everything else just falls completely flat on its face. And the number one thing that I hate about this movie is that it erased the timeline of Terminator and T2. How do you erase the timelines of the only two good movies in the whole damn franchise? Screw you, Terminator Genisys. That's it. Moving on to number 7. I'm already getting pumped and I'm only on number 7. Number 7, guys, is just an utter disgrace to the original movie and just further proof that Hollywood needs to stop doing horror remakes. Number 7 is Poltergeist. What an utter disgrace to the memory of the original Poltergeist. I feel so bad that this generation has to grow up knowing that this is Poltergeist when this is not actually Poltergeist, okay? This is not what Poltergeist is. Go watch the 1980s version by Tobe Hooper and Steven Spielberg. It's so much better. It's so much creepier. It's so much more entertaining than this pile of garbage. Everything does not work about this movie. It's just a generic, crappy horror movie with cheap scares, cheap jump scares, just predictable moments throughout. They did nothing original or refreshing with this movie. They could have taken it in so many different directions, made it so much more exciting, just paid great homage to the original, but they didn't. Terrible CGI, miscast lead actors, Sam Rockwell, Rosemary DeWitt, both miscast. I did not like Poltergeist at all. Terrible remake. What a surprise, though, that a horror remake is on this list. Thanks, Hollywood. Coming in at number 6. You guys thought that maybe he'd get away with it this year. Maybe he wouldn't get on this list. I don't think there ever is a year where this man is not on this list in some way. Number 6 is the biggest missed opportunity of 2015, and that's Pixels. Whoa! How in the hell do you take a premise with retro 80s games and aliens invading the planet and just turn it into one of the laziest Adam Sandler movies we've had since Adam Sandler took off and just shit on everything and with his terrible movies and terrible humor? Guys, everything about Pixels is just an utter slap in the face. Nothing in this movie works. Bad humor, just lazy, out-of-date jokes that have no place in this movie whatsoever. Just zero believability. Kevin James is the damn president. This is not, and this will not be his only appearance on this list. I can guarantee you that. Just wait. He's coming back. Alright, Adam Sandler, man, I have zero respect for you. I haven't since Grown Ups 2, and this movie is just further proof that you, sir, are literally just making movies for the money, and that is the problem. This could have been a great movie. It had such an engaging premise, but it just went to shit. And that is why Pixels is just a fucking piece of garbage. I hated this movie. Everything about Pixels does not work. Let's get into the top 5, and I am already cursing and going nuts. Coming in at number 5. It was shot well. That's it. Everything else about this movie does not work, and you guys are going to be shocked that this is 5 and not higher on this list. The rest of the other movies on this list are, oh god, they're even worse. Coming in at number 5 is 50 Shades of Shit. 50 Shades of Grey, guys. Oh my goodness. How do you take a movie about BDSM and two characters, one who likes it and one who doesn't, and literally try to get them together in every single scene in this movie, and it doesn't work, guys. One of the most pointless movies of the year tries to put these two characters in this relationship that clearly is not going to work, and it ends the exact way we'd expect it to end, with it not working. Everything is just utterly a disgrace with this movie. I mean, it's a disgrace to couples. It's a disgrace to good cinema. It's number 5 on this list. Of course it's a disgrace to good cinema. I mean, the dialogue is terrible. I cannot believe that the author who wrote this book made so much money and wrote such awful dialogue, and it actually got translated to screen. Like I said, the movie looks good. They're working with a terrible script, though. Jamie Dornan, or whatever the hell his name is, he's not good. Get another guy to play Christian Grey. I don't care how good he looks. No, he's not working. The dialogue and everything comes off as laughably bad. This movie is just a mess on every single aspect. Everything is just it's pointless. Everything is pointless in this movie because the characters just, they have bad chemistry. They're not going to mix because they just, it's not romantic. It's not romance. It's BDSM and she doesn't like it. That's it. This movie has no point. 50 Shades of Grey sucks. Coming in at number 4, you guys are probably gonna be mad that this wasn't lower on this list. This should have been 5, and 50 Shades of Grey should have been higher. This movie pissed me off because it's one of the most incoherent messes of the year. Number 4 is Taken 3. Why did we get a third Taken movie? Do you want to know why? Because they made a second one and they said, oh, we made a lot of money with the second one. We can make even more money with Take 3 and let's make Take 3 in. Taken 3 is the most poorly edited film of 2015 because not one cut in this movie works. This movie is rapidly cut together with a bunch of quick cuts and close-ups. The action is incoherent and messy and so confusing as hell. I have no idea who's jumping off buildings, who's shooting who. It just makes for a terribly headache-inducing experience, and that is why Taken 3 sucks. But not only that, the script is awful, the characters suck, Brian Mills isn't even Brian Mills in this movie. They just threw everything out the window and literally just wanted to make another couple of quick bucks at the box office, and that is why we have Taken 3. Taken is now a trilogy. Are you guys happy? I hope you're not. I hope we don't get any more. Stop making Taken movies. It's old. Olivier Megaton does not know how to direct a movie. His camera operators do not know how to operate a camera correctly. And his editors do not know how to cut a movie together because quick cuts and close-ups don't work. Number 4. Number 3. Still going, guys. Number 3. What the hell was this? What a misfire on every single end imaginable. Number 3 is Fantastic Four. Wow. Now, guys, I'll be honest with you. I do not hate the 2004 Fantastic Four. I not really enjoy it. I like that movie. I don't think it's bad. Everybody who hates that movie, I think, loves that movie a hell of a lot more than this giant mess. This is one of the worst superhero movies we have had in years, and I am not exaggerating, you guys. Nothing works. The cast, the CGI, The villain is one of the most just... Oh my goodness, Doctor Doom. The real Doctor Doom would be rolling around in his grave right now. Holy shit! How do you mess up the main villain of this movie by throwing him in the final 10 minutes for a big battle, and he has no development, nothing. Just nothing. He's just there. This entire movie is one origin story for the Fantastic Four that goes nowhere. This movie is the worst paced movie of the year. The editing, the cuts aren't terrible. What's bad about this movie is the pacing. The first half sucks, and the movie only gets worse and worse right when it says 1 year later. That's when this movie just hit the floor and became even worse than it could have been. Everything just dropped the ball from that point on. This is just an embarrassment of a superhero movie. Everything failed. Every single aspect, a giant misfire on all ends. This movie wasn't even laughably bad, and that's why I hate it as much, because I couldn't even enjoy it. I hated watching it, and that's why Fantastic Four, or Fant4stick, sucked. That is number 3. Coming in at number 2. I'm gonna give you guys 2 lines from this movie, okay? Just, this is the writing. This is what Hollywood is writing nowadays, guys. Just listen closely. Oh, I love your mother's cookies. Well, it did get pretty wet up here. Number 2 is The Boy Next Door. Oh my goodness. I'm just looking back at this movie and just how atrociously, laughably bad everything is. Zero tension, zero suspense, zero thrills. Jennifer Lopez, everyone is just a moron in this movie. Her young son in this movie gives the worst performance of the year. Oh my God, I hated him in this movie. Oh my God, what just a cheap ripoff of Fatal Attraction. You want to know why this is so high up on this list? Because this could have been good, okay? This could have been a great homage to Fatal Attraction. It could have been Jennifer Lopez's comeback. It could have had legitimate tension and great twists, but no, they went the generic, cliched route by giving us terribly stupid characters, bad, laughably horrible dialogue, zero tension, zero thrills, just a terrible ending, just the cliched, most predictable ending you could ever see coming. The Boy Next Door failed on all ends, and Jennifer Lopez didn't even go nude in the process, so this movie isn't even worth your money. It sucks. That is number 2. Number 1, the worst. Whoa. I have sat through some bad movies this year, but not one of them came even close. Always at the end of every year, I always pick the movie that angered me the most. And while I would probably say Fantastic Four angered me because of how much it failed, or Terminator Genisys angered me because of how it screwed up the timeline, this movie is the only movie that made me want to get up and leave the theater. I can't believe I stayed for the entire thing. Every single thing about this movie sucks, and the award for the most unnecessary sequel or movie of this year goes to Paul Blart Mall Cop 2! Wow! You guys want to know how to ruin the movie? Write down a list of ways to ruin this franchise, okay? Paul Blart Mall Cop 1 ends with Kevin James getting happily married. Everything's just happy, and that movie actually wasn't bad. That was pretty good. I enjoyed some things about that movie. Okay, it wasn't terrible. Yeah, it had its flaws, but now we get greenlit for a sequel. Okay, now we got another adventure with Paul Blart. You know how they start the movie? They kill off his mother 5 minutes in with a milk truck. Okay, and his wife divorces him 6 days after they get married. Bye-bye, Paul Blart Mall Cop 1. You had no point whatsoever, because now we have a movie that's saying that didn't matter. Those relationships didn't matter. Throw them out the window for laughs. But it's not funny. Every single fucking thing about this movie does not work. Nothing. The humor, the gags, it's just stupid slapstick humor with fat jokes galore. Same crap all the time because they're poking fun at Kevin James's weight. It's not funny, Hollywood. Stop it. Stop using fat jokes. It's not funny. Oh my goodness, nothing worked. I couldn't wait to leave this theater. Every character annoyed the hell out of me in this movie. No laughs. Terrible animal CGI that is so atrocious. They had a budget for this movie and someone actually greenlit the CGI that was in this movie. You fire them. Fire anyone who worked on that department of this movie. Oh my goodness, guys. What an utter train wreck of a movie. Nothing works. There are no laughs. There are no gags. None of them work. They all fall flat on their face. I am amazed that fucking people actually sat down in a room. Kevin James sat down with 2 other guys and wrote the script to this movie. One of the worst script of the year. Every single thing about this movie is utter dog shit. Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 is the worst pile of shit of 2015. I never want to think about this fucking piece of shit again. That's it. I am done. Thank you guys so much for watching my... Wow, I gotta calm down, guys. Oh my goodness. I got pretty fired up for this, guys. I'm not joking. Wow. Okay. There you have it. 25-minute long worst movies of the year. Nice. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed my ranting because I totally went off and ranted. That was for you guys, okay? I wanted to give you guys a little gift. And I wasn't even putting this on for show. I hate these movies. I hate them all. I'm so glad I don't have to talk about them again. This is it. I reviewed them, and now I gave them their attention, their due attention in this video because they are all shit. So, guys... down below in the comments, what are your picks for the worst movies of 2015? Let me know down below. Guys, happy 2016. I hope this year has a lot better movies than last year did. Thank you guys so much for watching. I gotta go gain my composure back. Bye, guys.